ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of Collider Body Slam Raw Recap, coming to you live from America. Because I don't know where this pay-per-view is going to happen, this crown jewel thing. A lot of stuff in the air, a lot of buzz in the air, a lot of pressure. And, of course, I'm just one pundit in a podcast studio talking to you all about WWE. My name is John Rocha, but the man who's got his finger on the pulse of things, who might be reporting any kind of updates that are going to come out about this show or about anything that's going to happen there, that's the guy who runs Pro Wrestling Sheet over there, Ryan Satin. How are you, brother?
I am doing great. I'm tired. It's been a busy couple days dealing with all this. And yeah, this show, like Rocha said, it's been a developing thing. Excuse me if I'm looking at my phone throughout the episode. For those of you watching on video on YouTube, I'm just scared that something's gonna break while we're discussing, and I'm not looking at my phone. So sorry if I'm refreshing and stuff, and you hear random refresh noise. I think I have my phone on silent, so you shouldn't hear the noise. But I'll be looking at my phone just in case. And if something happens to break while we're recording, I might have to jump off for a second to write something. So we'll see. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. But yeah, man, with everything going on, it was wild to me how much WWE went out of their way to continue to promote Crown Jewel without saying Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
It was like a Pee Wee Herman with like the word of the day or whatever, where like they were like, don't say it, or it's like, everything's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, everyone's trying to avoid saying it, and the graphics, for whatever reason, they didn't have it on there too, on the graphics, like anywhere on the graphics. Yeah,
I mean, it didn't say it before, but they put out a commercial on social media during the show where I noticed it didn't once say, live from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or something like that. It didn't say anything like that. It just said Crown Jewel a bunch of times.
Are you allowed to speculate on anything? Like, do you think it's...
I mean, I can speculate on anything I want.
Ryan Satin, do you feel that it's going to happen? Do you feel that it's going to happen, but only in America? Do you think they'll change the venue?
I think that the only way it's going to be canceled is if audio or video of the reported death surfaces. Right. Or if the Saudi government admits some sort of involvement. CNN did a report yesterday where they said that apparently the Saudi government is preparing some sort of statement where they're going to admit some sort of involvement. There's been reports, like you said before we started recording, there's been reports that that it was not a rogue operation that was done not at his behest, or that it was or at the behest, the order of the royal court, or that it was an interrogation gone wrong, or that it was a rogue operation. All these different things. But I think at the end of the day, if the Saudi government is in any way involved, where they admit it, or there's irrefutable proof that they were involved, I think WWE has to at that point. I mean, at the end of the day, it's human life. It's not politics where women can't be on the show, or you're taking money for propaganda. Like, this is like you're putting your performers' lives at risk, possibly. I mean, this is a contentious situation internationally. I mean, this is being covered internationally, all over the world, everywhere. Everyone is covering what's happening involved in this Washington Post reporter. So to avoid it, you can't just avoid it to the shareholder. You have shareholders. I understand that there are companies that are in bed with worse, companies that are in bed with worse operations or regimes or worse things have been done. But at the end of the day, like, this is a children's company. Like, this isn't. They're like, they can't get in too deep at a certain point. They are making entertainment for children. This isn't some political company. They don't need to get involved in things that are huge international crises. I think that they need to be careful. Like the U.S. Senator said to them, they need to just I'm not even saying end their relationship. Well, if it comes out that they were involved, I think they have to end the relationship. But I'm just saying they need to think about their athletes. I mean, I talked to multiple people in the company. It's not just one third-hand source. Multiple people all throughout the company. None are happy about this one. I mean, last time, for Greatest Royal Rumble, I think, like myself, like you, like others, I think people were kind of waiting to see what happened. But I think they saw what happened, and it was bad. Like there was, the propaganda ads that aired. From what I've heard, it was sketchy being there. I mean,
well, yeah, and Jericho talked about it. He
watch
tweeted
that video?
Yeah, I watched the video where Jericho talked about how he did it. He took the money, but he felt incredibly uncomfortable, and he was counting down the minutes before he could have a drink on the plane. And so that kind of stuff is there. None of us sitting here in this country who've never been over there can speculate on what a wrestler should or shouldn't do, right? Or what that vibe might be like, because we're all human beings. We can sense something that seems like uncomfortable for a cult, for us, or for whatever. And when that happens, we have to react the way we react. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not surprised that there are wrestlers telling you how they feel that they're uncomfortable. Like, I think the last one was like a mulligan. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this goes. Yeah, women aren't invited, I know, but they keep saying they're progressive, and they do these commercials. You have Cena thanking Saudi Arabia for being there, which, he's a soldier. He's a good soldier. I don't mean he's a soldier, actually. Soldier's a good soldier.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's not an actual soldier.
Yeah, he does a lot of salutes, but he ain't never served. But he's a good soldier for the company. He's doing things he was doing. So now you look at this, and obviously, look, you all watching, you want to talk about, we're going to talk about Raw, absolutely wrestling, but sometimes you can't just say, keep politics out of sports. This transcends that kind of stuff.
This doesn't even feel like politics to
right,
me.
exactly. Well, I mean, right, exactly. It's about human stuff, human rights. And Daniel Khashoggi, who is the reporter, Washington Post reporter, went in to get a marriage license. His fiance is waiting outside. For those of you who may not know the full story, they waited from 4 p.m. to 1 a.m. for him to come back out. He never came back out. Her fiance was joined by some friends. They asked the people there at the, I think it was at the consulate, and they said, "Oh, he left. You didn't. You probably missed him." As if
he has the Saudi consulate in Turkey.
Yes, in consulate. Yeah, exactly. As if they could miss him. As if the fiance, who has both their phones, he would somehow not try to find his fiance. But it came out that they allegedly attacked him, cut him up into pieces.
They allegedly
but with a bone saw.
Yeah, the Saudi government allegedly sent like a team of 15 people
which they
to
have
the
video
consulate.
Of.
Yeah,
you have these people landing and then going into the consulate.
And then once they were in there, apparently, like very quickly after he arrived, taking backrooming him basically, and interrogating him, and then like you said, at the end of this, allegedly chopping his body with a bone saw.
With a bone saw and putting it in separate suitcases,
which is insane.
It sounds like a Guy Ritchie film. It sounds like a Guy Ritchie film.
It really does sound like stuff you see in the movies. It sounds like Dexter, like something you see on Dexter.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the politics thing, and
I don't want to bleed any kind of politics.
No, I know that, but
it's WWE.
But
this is human rights, man.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Is that I don't feel like every international news topic is necessarily like politics. Right. Yes, I realize that people in the political arena are getting involved in this now, but this is an international news story. Yeah. Like, it's not just politics where you got to choose one side or the other. In fact, it blows my fucking mind seeing people defend WWE. WWE isn't even defending themselves right now. WWE is putting out a statement. They're saying they're monitoring the situation. They're saying that they listen to all their talent, and right now they're monitoring the situation. That's not defending the situation.
Right.
If anything, based on what we've seen since all of this, they're not defending the situation. Mm-hmm. They've taken out references to Saudi Arabia. They've done the opposite of that. Mm-hmm. So when I see fans in my replies, and I don't know if they're just trolls or if they're bots or whatever, but I see people in my replies that treat it as a political thing, or that act as though it's just not something we should be talking about, or defending WWE right now. And it's like, yo, put your thinking cap on for a second. Right. Put some glasses on, get some perspective, and just look at everything that's going on. Sometimes there are things that are more important than money and caping your favorites. Like this is one of them. This is a real bad thing going on. And I was even shocked this morning. Shocked is the wrong word, because JBL loves going on Fox and defending WWE. But him going on there and saying that, and look, I'm a big JBL fan. I thought JBL was a great champion.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's a nice guy, even with the times I've interacted with him. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that. There's a huge portion of people who don't agree with me on that.
Ronaldo, yeah.
But when I watched this today, I was just like, man, it's just such a miss, like it's bad read of the situation. Like the whole I understood championing the whole WWE is for change the first time, but But this time it's not about just the women not being able to wrestle. It is so much bigger than that. Yeah. I mean, even the women, there were women last time who were like, yeah, whatever, we get it. This time they're like, we shouldn't be there. Yeah. Like, even though they're not the ones going, they're like, WWE is not, we as WWE shouldn't be there. And that's the general sentiment from most people I've talked to in the company.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see how this situation plays out. And of course, it's it's an ever developing thing. You know, a lot of people pulled out of conferences, they pulled out of business deals at this point because of this situation. So we'll see. WWE has a 10-year contract with them, so I don't fault them for taking the time to figure this out, because what do they have to untangle if they really want to walk away from this deal? What do they have to untangle, and how much is involved here? And don't forget the tentacles of Saudi Arabia and the money of those people of the people in charge of that country right now. Those tentacles are very long. You know, if you look at Twitter, I think they own like over 50% of Twitter, and they have money in a lot of places that you may not know about. Yep. So there's more to this that has to come out. It is a black and white situation in terms of like, you don't want to see a journalist get killed this way in their own country at a foreign consulate, and when those kinds of things happen, it's uncomfortable. But you know, you also got to understand there's business involved here. It's contracts, all that kind of stuff that has to take time. Isn't as simple as just going, you know, I'm not going to shop there anymore. There's more involved.
No, I think that's, to me, the most intriguing part of this is like, how do you get out of that? Yeah. You know, like how you've already done so much. Yeah. You know, it's not as simple as just pushing the abort button. You know, like there's not just some big red button that says abort Saudi Arabia and WWE pushes it and they're out of the, you know. So no, it's a tricky subject. So keep checking the site. I'm going to be following it as it unfolds. I mean, as much as I'd like to be covering the fun aspect of things, to me, this is the most interesting thing. This is what everyone wants to know about in wrestling. This is what everyone seems to be talking about. So I will be covering it heavily.
Other than that Ronda Rousey promo, which we're going to get to here in just a little bit. But first, speaking of politics, how about backstage politics? The Shield having issues here. Braun Strowman and the increasing odds that the breakup is happening between Braun Strowman and Ziggler and McIntyre. This all went down during Raw. The opening segment there, you know, Ziggler and Strowman and McIntyre came out, did their whole thing, talked about how, you know, they took care of the Shield last week, how they buried the Shield, blah, blah, blah. They showed a video of it from last week, and then the Shield came out. Well, 2/3 of the Shield came out in Rollins and Reigns, and they pushed back on this, said that Ambrose would be there when he's ready to be there, he will be there, and then all these matches were set up. What do you think about this opening promo, this back and forth? Do you like that Strowman, they're kind of moving him towards the face aspect of it all, or massive full heel? I don't know.
Well, we're going to get to that at the end.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that really, because I really want to open that up in more detail, because I think that's a good discussion. So I'm going to pinpoint that last part of it and just say that I don't love everything going on in the main event scene right now. I mean, the fact that they're just doing so many matches involving the same guys, it's just like, I tune out. It is so hard for me to watch the same match over and over and over and over and over again. So I just, especially when it's not the hottest feud. Like, give me one thing if like everyone was clamoring for, you know, Vince versus Austin. Give me that for a full year.
Oh yeah.
You know, Daniel Bryan versus The Miz. Give it for 6 months.
Rock Triple H. Yeah,
give it to me. Give it to me for a long time.
Yeah.
Nothing about this Shield feud though with Braun, Dolph, and Drew McIntyre has been working beyond the fact that everyone thinks those are all great talents. Like there's no one that doesn't think those guys are great talents. There's no one that thinks those guys are going to put on a bad match. Right. None of their matches have been terrible.
Nope.
Not by any means.
This Rollins McIntyre match was, or this Rollins Ziggler match was fantastic. Or McIntyre, sorry, Rollins McIntyre. Yeah.
Great match.
Yeah.
I just get tired of the same thing over and over again. You know, I just when I see the same thing over and over again, it just feels lazy to me. It doesn't feel like some epic long storytelling where they're gonna keep adding little nuances and stuff. No, it feels like lazy writing. You know, and you know, I feel, and we'll get into this deeper in the episode, but it's like, it's similar to Evolution. Like, I just feel like there's such lazy build to Evolution.
Right.
And I feel the same way about the Shield versus whatever they're calling Braun and Dolph and Drew. So I don't love it. hope that I've said this a couple weeks now, but I hope this is actually the end of it based on how Raw ended and that we kind of move in a new direction. And I will say, though, what I did like about this segment is the whole Dean Lunatic time thing.
Yeah.
It was a fun little thing they did this episode. It adds a little wrinkle in Dean's character going forward. It was a little derivative of what's her face, AJ Lee, where it was don't call her crazy. It felt like that to me. But at the end of the day, I liked where they're going towards. It feels like they're building finally towards an implosion of the Shield, and I'm into it.
Yeah. And I think maybe that's why it isn't as strong, bro, because you have we have what we sense was a put together team at the last second, Strowman, Ziggler, McIntyre, versus a Shield team that no one wanted to see reunited again come back. So there isn't fire on the creation of both of these threesomes coming into a situation where they're slamming against each other. There isn't that same kind of thing like you would feel in a feud where you want to watch for 6 months and go back and forth. Even the Nakamura AJ match into a smaller window was more enjoyable than anything that's happened here. Yes, the matches are great. I agree with you completely. But the storylines, it's like, well, we know one's going to leave. Which one's going to leave? It's pretty obvious. And they teased the Strowman thing at the beginning, and that's been coming for a couple of weeks. So how's the Ambrose thing going to work? Well, if he's not the Lunatic, well, do I have to give back my Lunatic Fringe shirt? Can I exchange it for something else? If he's going to be called something else, then does that mean I get to exchange? Like those things are interesting, but in the long run, it's just a filler until we get to the actual match. And then whatever they've scripted out, how the ending is going to go, we're going to see. But all this stuff is just filler now.
Yeah, that's the best way to word it. That's how I really felt about Raw the past few weeks. That it's all felt like filler. It's all felt like placeholders to where they're actually going with the story, and the chapters aren't very interesting along the way. They're kind of like it's the same chapter repeated over and over and over and over and over again.
It's like you're reading that book and you're like, oh no, or it's like the middle of a Marvel Netflix series. You're like those 3 episodes in the middle of that, and you're like, oh god, can I just get through this so I can get to the end of the show?
It's like a choose your own adventure, but you keep choosing the same adventure. You're like, oh shit, man.
It keeps going. It keeps going.
Turn to page 65 to get these hands. Remember those books? I used to love those books.
Those are great. Adventure. Of course, please.
I'm surprised that's not like a digital thing now.
Probably is.
I was gonna say
every time you go on Twitter and tweet is a choose your own adventure. I'll be honest with you.
I feel like comic books were brought to iPads.
Oh yeah,
and it made it better because it was kind of like fun to do it on there.
Right.
I don't know, it's like a bigger experience. Sometimes people feel. I feel like choose your own adventure could be fun with like animated things that are going on.
Well, yeah, I'm sure there's something there. Yeah, there you go. That could be a thing. Put that on the WWE Network. I like that.
Get it, Scholastic.
All right, we're moving on. The Brothers of Destruction came out. Well, they didn't come out. They recorded their promo ahead of time.
In a pink boiler room.
Yeah, what is that all about? I did not. I mean, you don't counter an awesome promo by Triple H and Shawn Michaels going back in time to channel the best of DX in a promo. And then you come off with the pink boiler room thing where you guys sit around and there's like the angle shot. It's like an old WCW shot where they're in the back and the angle, the camera's the side of their face. And I didn't get that at all. It was a little weird. It didn't seem menacing in any way, shape, or form. Oh, sorry. And I thought it was like kind of a lame comeback from what happened last week. Didn't you think?
I completely agree. Yeah. Me, James, McKenna, and Jamie, pretty much everyone that I texted with during Raw, we were all texting. They're like, what was that?
Yeah.
Terrible follow-up to the cool DX thing from last week.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just the producer in me. You're also, you work in the entertainment industry. The producer in me, when I watch television, not just WWE, when I watch all television, when there's like really unbelievable lighting, it takes me out. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. It might just be growing up around like a dad, having a dad who produced television. I don't know what it is, but when I see a background that is so clearly lit to be on television, it bothers me. An example of that is Netflix. Netflix does it all the time. Netflix does it on all their Marvel shows. On all of their Marvel shows, they try to have like the background look like the color of that superhero or whatever, and it drives me nuts. Same for that Aziz Ansari show. What was that show called? Master of None.
Yeah.
so many where he's like in a kitchen, you know, in like an apartment in New York somewhere, and it's just like all these beautiful background colors, and you're like, it would never look like that when someone's just standing in their kitchen. So it bothered me.
Fair enough.
It looked like an 80s movie too, like an 80s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I tweeted a picture. I feel like, I don't know if you saw it, but I feel like this is a tweet you would like. Remember that movie Weird Science back in the day? It looked just
when
like
she comes out.
When she comes out, like look how much it looked like when she comes out. It looked just like it, right? Like it's
oh my god, it looks exactly right. Wyatt, what have we done? You've created the Brothers of Destruction. Oh no!
Yeah, it brings a whole new meaning to Weird Science. I know. So I saw some.
Oh my god! Someone should edit in her saying to the, "What do you two little monsters want to do next?" While they're sitting there in the pink boiler room. That is perfect.
I wanted to recut or just add the Weird Science theme song underneath it.
Weird Science.
Yeah, Weird Science.
Yeah, Oingo Boingo, man. Shout out to them. If you haven't seen that movie, the 80s movie, it's a good 80s movie. A young Iron Man playing an evil guy in that movie, Robert Downey Jr., but you do get Anthony Michael Hall and I forget that guy's name. Thomas... Something nice.
The older brother?
No. The older brother's Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton.
But the other kid who plays the main guy, the main little kid, you know, he's in there too. So,
I love that movie as a kid. I love the series when I was a kid too. For some reason.
Oh yeah, the series.
It was on USA.
Right. It was.
Yeah.
Along with Parker Lewis Can't Lose. Oh,
I love that show too.
Now we're getting old.
Sorry, everyone.
Nia Jax and Ember Moon came out. Remember Ember Moon, for God's sakes. They took on the returning Tamina.
Remember Ember Moon?
I mean, she seems so forgotten in this whole thing. And Dana Brooke, Dana. And of course, this is... All right, let's get to it. This previewed Evolution, the supposed Royal Rumble that's happening at
Battle Royal.
Battle Royal, rather, that's happening at Evolution. With they showcased. You tweeted about it, and Aaron Turner tweeted about it. They posted a picture of it, and
every girl on the SmackDown roster tweeted about it.
Yeah, and said, "What is this all about?"
Well, they basically. So for those of you who didn't, you all saw it.
Yeah.
But for those of you maybe didn't catch it, pretty much all the women they announced in this match, for the most part, are like all the women on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So like, besides Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, all the women who have been involved in this women's evolution, you know, who've all been involved in, you know, helping it get to this point, I've all now been thrown in a battle royal with kind of like zero fanfare. It was kind of mentioned offhandedly, you know, during Raw this week. And I think rightfully a lot of them were annoyed. And like pretty much all of them, they all just tweeted a gif of themselves rolling their eyes, basically. Yeah. Like kind of like, ugh, you know, and like all of them. even Naomi was tweeting shade. Yeah. Who never tweets shade like seriously, you know? But I agree with them, you know? I really do agree with them. Yeah. I understand that the women's revolution is going to mean more, that they also want to represent going forward, and that's why they have, you know, the Mae Young Classic final, the NXT women's title, NXT UK women's title. But at the end of the day, the audience that is the majority are the ones who watch WWE's main roster programming, Raw, SmackDown. You know, that's where it's being promoted the most. That's the audience they're trying to attract. Yeah. I don't understand having a match with Rhea Ripley for the NXT UK women's title on the show a week after, even if we might not even see her win the title yet before before Evolution happens. If we do, it's going to be like a week or two before the event. Yeah. Nobody is tuning in, and I think Rhea Ripley is a huge talent. Yeah. I think Rhea Ripley is part of the future of WWE women's wrestling. But at the end of the day, you know, there are women on the main roster who have done a lot, who have a huge fan base, larger than a Rhea Ripley. You know, for example, who deserve to have a little bit of effort put into their match at Evolution. Yeah. That's my opinion. I think that seems to be a lot of the opinion of the women on the main roster as well.
How are they allowed to tweet this stuff? Like, this is what I want to know. Well, because
they tweeted it.
Staged?
No, they all tweeted it in a very smart way. Like, they all just no one tweeted any context to their gifs. They all just collectively tweeted an eye roll gif. And I think it's one of those things where, like, you can't punish all of us. That's how I look at it.
Maybe they all were like, they're on a Slack and they're like,
let's
I think
all
it's a group
tweet
chat.
This
at the same
group
time.
Group chat. In text message. Yeah. They all were pissed because they all got alerted at the same time when it happened on Raw. I don't think any of them were told prior to the announcement on Raw. From what I've heard, they got told right after it aired. Yep. Some of them were under the impression they were going to be in other matches, not in a battle royal. Okay. And clearly plans changed to accommodate for other wrestlers, other things, other booking plans.
Yes.
So I think they all were like, wait, what? Really? Like they're just doing us like that? And so they all, collectively tweeted the eye roll gifts so that they can't all get in trouble.
Yeah, that was it. It was Mandy, Billy Kay, Peyton Royce, CJ, Eternity, and Mella all tweeted the gifts at the same time.
Well, look at Carmella. Carmella was champion for the past for months, and I know that a lot of people, like Rocha included, maybe weren't as happy with her run, but she was the champion on SmackDown for months now. Yeah. And you're tossing her in the Royal, I said it too, Battle Royal now. And I get it. There's a chance for a future women's title opportunity that goes to the winner. I just feel like it was barely any effort put into that. Yeah. And on top of that, I feel like there's been very little effort put into the booking of Evolution as a whole.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing now. And you don't want to make this let's complain about the WWE type of show today, but like it's pretty obvious that they're making some missteps here creatively. They're making some missteps in how they're promoting stuff. They're making some missteps here in trying to elevate a certain pay-per-view over another pay-per-view. I get it. You get more money to do Crown Jewel, but Evolution is supposed to be the brainchild of Stephanie McMahon and the evolution of women's wrestling, and you're not even promoting it correctly. You're putting on a card that is just checking boxes, and there's nothing really that exciting. And that's the unfortunate situation. Every woman who has ever walked through the WWE and maintained a good relationship with them and have a good history with them should be highlighted in some way every week. Every week there should be segments promoting these women so that people will remember, Ivory, Jackie, go all the way back to Moolah and Wendy Richter, like all through that time.
Well, you did Hispanic Heritage Month, and look at I'm Latino.
Marriage,
I think it makes a million times more sense to have been spotlighting all the different women who helped us get to Evolution as opposed to just like the Hispanic Heritage Month, which makes
Tito
no sense.
And Pedro Morales. That would pretty much be it. Oh, and Rey
Mysterio and Eddie.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
Way to go. Yeah. So, it would just be that.
Like, you guys had the Mexicools on the lawnmowers. You're not pushing Mexican heritage, guys. Come on. I know it's a different time, but we know. We have brains. We remember them.
It wasn't that different of a time. Shit, it wasn't that long ago. Prime time either. That wasn't that long ago either. So,
at the end of the day, I think that's, lackluster.
Yeah.
Lackluster, man. Like, and I'm with you. I hate complaining about it. I hate complaining about things.
You don't want to complain about it.
I don't want to complain about it. I do want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy Shawn Michaels' return to the ring, and I can't. It sucks. Yeah. Like, I love Shawn Michaels, whether he doesn't like me or not. I love Shawn Michaels, and it sucks that I'm not excited about his return to the ring. I should be thrilled about his return to the ring. Women's wrestling fans should be thrilled about Evolution. They should be like, this is a huge moment. And instead, it's kind of like, are you really putting that much effort into booking this? Is the Ronda thing next? Is that next? Or is that later?
Yeah, it's coming next. Yeah,
okay.
That's right. So let's go.
Because I think this factors into it a little bit too.
But one last thing, Ember Moon gets the pin on Dana Brooke, and then then Dana and Tamina, Ember and Tamina get together and throw Nia out. Then Ember tries to throw Tamina out, and then it becomes a whole thing, and then Dana Brooke ends up throwing Ember and Tamina out. Dana Brooke, who's taking losses like she's a member of the Ascension, is now all of a sudden supposed to, have some kind of claim here in this situation.
Of all people to stand victorious at the end of this, I was very confused to why it was Dana Brooke.
And not because I don't want Dana Brooke to stay. I love Dana Brooke. It's more a matter of like, you've done nothing to build that up as a moment that would be worth it. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even build up the Tamina's coming back. Like, that's a big deal, Tamina coming back.
Well, they really give spotlights.
Tamina's back.
They really give spotlights to Dana Brooke and Apollo Crews on Raw in the most random of ways, where you were like, okay, I get it, and I like it, but where did this come from? What just happened? Because, the Dana Brooke thing, I was like, why wouldn't you put Tamina in that spot? Tamina has been gone since January. You made a big deal with her you mentioned her coming back. Yeah. Why wouldn't you have her be the one and give her some momentum going into the match? Have her staring down like, look what I did to you, to Nia Jax, so that when they then back, it makes sense and you get reminded of what happened to Royal Rumble, and then there's a cool moment in the Battle Royal.
I agree completely.
It was random. It was very random.
Very random. Something that wasn't random, Ronda Rousey. Holy totally backward. Now, you all who watch the show know I'm not always in the Rousey camp or always in the Bella's camp. So this was an interesting moment. And when they let her speak, and then she went off. Let me tell you something. As a guy who has done promos that walk the line between telling the truth about a situation and like going off on your own and kind of doing your own promos, and they come real close to being about real life, I have to say I loved this promo, Ryan. Absolutely loved it. Ronda hit every nail. I think she kind of veered off in the smallpox thing. I don't know what the hell that was all about. But everything else I thought was brilliant. And I can't believe they let her get away with the stuff she said, and especially when she had the retort to Bella and said, the only door you've knocked down is the door to John Cena's bedroom, and it's the same door he threw you out of. And like, damn, I was just shocked. Because the Bellas have to accept that, like, they have to, like, I'm sure they talk it out and they say to her, like, okay, this is what Ronda's going to say. Are you guys okay with this? Blah, blah, blah. And we've seen this before at WWE all the time. They walk that line, in professional wrestling. We saw it with Matt Hardy and Edge and Lita. We saw it with Kurt Angle and his ex-wife with Jarrett, all that kind of stuff. So we've seen it happen many times before. This was just fascinating, and it was the best promo Ronda's ever done.
Definitely the best promo that Ronda has ever done, right? Unquestionably. Okay, so I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
But I have seen like the two different trains of thought because of it.
Yeah, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Because the trains of thought, I want to hear this. Because if the Bellas said it was okay, what are these trains of thought?
Yeah, see, that is something I'm wondering too. Is like if the Bella Twins, I'm like put my knee up because I'm ready to like have a serious talking. But like
it's time for total Ryan,
total sheet,
total.
So okay. I thought it was good. I thought that it did a great job of selling this feud as a main event for Evolution. I think that there's been like we were just talking about, there's been a lackluster build to Evolution. They needed some oomph to it. They needed something that was going to try to attract the casuals.
Yeah.
There are a lot. Were we not recording again?
No, it's not that. Your camera died.
Oh.
So it's not as bad. I can put up a picture over it. Worst case, we'll still save it.
Oh shit.
I'm glad at least they figured it out this time.
Yeah, I walked by and I was like, God damn it.
Do we stop?
Should I stop for a second? Should I keep going?
Yeah, stop.
Okay.
Okay.
Technical note here. Sorry about that. Apparently, I just learned, and those of you watching the video have already learned that my camera cut out a few minutes ago. So we're back. We should be back on now. So we're gonna pick up where I think we were in the conversation, and I think that was about Ronda Rousey and Nikki Bella and the two trains of thought.
You had your knee up.
I did have my knee up. And the two. Now I'm all nervous. I have to back down. I was much more relaxed. Now I'm not relaxed anymore. But the two trains of thought being this, that one, I loved it. Like, I think I'm on that train of thought. I'm a little on both trains of thought here. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, but it did a good job of selling this as a main event.
Yeah.
I think there was lackluster build to the show so far. Not a lot of effort has been put into it, and I think that there are a large portion of the audience that aren't planning to watch Evolution.
Yep.
I think that there are there are things that need to be changed to go forward. There are changes that need to be made in order to sell women's wrestling to more people in the WWE universe. Right. I personally know people who have no plans to watch it. Because they're not huge on women's wrestling like others are. They need something to attract those people, and those people, for the most part, loathe the Bella Twins. Yeah. They're the ones on Twitter who are like, calling them bad names, mentioning who they've dated, all the reasons people love to hate on the Bella Twins.
Yeah.
In order to sell, the Bellas to let them be the heels that they need to be in order to get heat on this match, to get it over, I kind of think they needed to go there.
Yeah.
I think that with everything that's been going on with everyone shitting on Brie, the breakup with John and Nikki, I think that people are dying to boo the Bella Twins and be allowed to boo the Bella Twins and to cheer for someone saying the things that they've been tweeting for the past couple years. Right. And so, It's no different than when AJ Lee did it, or when Miz does it to Daniel Bryan. So it's no different than that, in my opinion. And I think that the match needed it. I think that there are people who are still not sold on Ronda Rousey who saw that and were like, oh, damn, she can go there. She can cut a promo.
I'm one of those people. I don't mind admitting it.
So I think it was good.
Yeah.
But I do know that there is this other train of thought, and I understand where they're coming from, where it's like evolution. It's supposed to be the advancement of women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, it's supposed to be this empowering event. It's supposed to be for women's wrestling fans.
Right.
It's not supposed to be for those casuals that they're doing this for.
Yeah.
This was a segment to attract people that weren't watching the show. But it was kind of a little bit of a slap in the face to those who were already excited for the show, who love women's wrestling, who want to see empowering storylines between women. So I can understand how one wrestler who's supposed to be the good guy is, how I can understand how people see one person who's supposed to be viewed as the good guy, putting down her opponent by talking about her accomplishments in business, which are great, her accomplishments in reality television, which are also impressive, and who she dated, and referencing the fact that they stole moves from their men and stuff like that, which Nikki never really stole any of John's moves.
Right.
Like, I get that Brie does them, does the yes kicks and does some of Daniel Bryan's
the
stuff.
Kicks, rather than
but Nikki never really did that. I think it was like the one time she did at WrestleMania.
They were both established before before their relationships came out.
Totally. So I think that there are women and just people in general who see that and go, couldn't you have come up with something a little more creative?
Right.
Like, couldn't you have not gone there and shown that that's not where you still are, where you're going forward? So I'm kind of in the middle. I do believe that this was effective. But at the same time, like I said, I think it was kind of a slap in the face to some of the people who were already excited for the event.
Well, let me offer a possible counter here to this, and I hear what you're saying, and I saw some of that online as well, and I agreed with it to a degree. Like, yeah, that probably maybe wasn't the best way to go about it, but then again, this needed to go to that direction because of the way it's been booked and the situation amongst the fans. And look, who's going to pay tickets? Who's going to buy this pay? Who's going to join the network for a month for free to watch this pay-per-view? It's those fans that you want to get through the door. And the crowd reaction was insane.
Yep.
It was like someone hit a three-pointer at the end of the game to win the game. Like, people were losing it.
Yep.
It was like that meme where the guy's like, and everyone went like, oh! It was like that.
Yeah.
And so you needed to do that. And other male wrestlers have done that to each other. So isn't this equality that you're playing in this by the same rules and doing the things you're doing? Yes, the connotation is difficult to negotiate. I think that's a person-to-person thing. Are you okay with this? Are you all right with this? And of course, I'm not a woman. So does a woman hearing this go, this is bullshit, why do they have to do that? Or does a woman hearing this go, you know what? If we want to be seen as equals, then we must also take shit as heels and say terrible things. But this is the face saying that stuff. That was what was really interesting. The face is Ronda Rousey in the situation, and calling them DNBs, which is of course a reference of Do Nothing Bitches, which is something she had for a long time in I think UFC. So Do Nothing Bellas. I thought that was funny. I thought it played well.
Yeah, it was a nice play on it. Yeah.
But this whole thing, because the only way I think this works is if the Bella Twins now next week come out and they say, yeah, Ronda, you took us to task, blah, blah, blah. You said all this kind of shit, but at least we didn't run to the WWE because we couldn't hack it in the UFC.
I was shocked they didn't go.
Well, I think they have to wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I also agree with you there that they need to go there because
they got to go after Holly. They got to say Holly Holm stuff. They got to say Amanda Nunes stuff because she got beat. And they got to talk about her like disappearing for a week and not talking to anybody, shitting in the woods by herself, all that kind of stuff. They have to go after. Travis Brown is not out of play now. Travis Brown is not out of the realm of possibility. They should say, at least we didn't get together with a wife abuser. Like that kind of, alleged rather, that kind of stuff is now in play.
See, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I thought for sure.
Yeah.
I hope they do.
And if Ronda has a fucking issue with that, she's insane.
Yes.
She doesn't get to say shit like that and the Bellas don't get to come back.
100%.
Yeah.
I am with you 100% there that I think that people who were mad too or complained about it, if they had done that in this segment, would be less mad about it too, because I think it's only fair if both do it.
Right.
So yes, Right now, I feel I'm in the middle, but
Yeah.
I do think that I'll be completely on the side of it helps sell the pay-per-view if they let Ronda do it. Or, excuse me, they let Nikki do it back to Ronda because I mean,
and Brie.
They should let them both do it back because there a lot of those things that Ronda said about the Bella Twins, there are just as many things that people say about Ronda in the public eye that they should utilize, that they should take advantage of.
And the rumored Alicia Fox stuff behind the scenes, that should be coming up as well. I've heard that from a couple of places.
So I did see that Nikki did tweet about it or post on Instagram about the promo last night. She said, a certain someone may say I knocked down a certain door, but that door was an open door that led me to true love, a love and a bond that will always be in my heart. The words I'll choose to remember today are Bellalution and Bella Army. Our Bella Army has taught us the power of unity, perseverance, and believing in ourselves, and that's what I have done. I have
Who's the heel, damn it?
I have persevered and have believed in my purpose, which has helped us create a Bellalution. Whether there's a lack of respect from Ronda Rousey or a certain perception at WWE and other talent have made of my sister and I, one thing we have never done is given up. Never give up. Never have let the darkness take our light that we love to share and shine. Right. We have never stopped smiling, and we have never let the hurtful words, which all are the same, stop us from living our best life of happiness, fulfilling our dreams, doing what we love to do, and growing a beautiful, strong Bella Army. Ronda, you're welcome for giving you a big, beautiful open door to walk through last night in Philly. Just know that it'll be hitting you in the ass at Evolution. So, yes, you posed a good question there. Who's the heel?
Yeah.
You know, I think the answer to that question is nobody.
Yeah.
And that's the answer to every question in WWE is there aren't any heels right now. There aren't any faces. I mean, I saw an interview with Charlotte. She basically admitted it. And most wrestlers are basically saying this in interviews now is that there aren't faces or heels.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as that anymore, is that it's about reactions.
Yeah.
That as long as you can get reactions out of people, that's what matters most. I don't know if I agree, but that seems to be wrestlers, the sentiment shared by wrestlers.
It's also about brand protection now, isn't it?
Kinda.
Like we've promoted this, therefore we are this, you know? And
well, it's also like I think they learned from John Cena.
Yeah.
That they never had to turn John Cena heel or face. People were going to boo or cheer him, but at the end of the day, he was still a money-making commodity. And I think that's why they're trying. I think they're trying to replicate that with other wrestlers now, and they're trying to say, no, we don't need to turn someone heel or face. Heel or face is on you, on the viewer, how you perceive them, whether you think they're a good or a bad person. Everybody has different opinions.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a good person? Then cheer for him. Do you think it's a bad person? Boo him.
Yeah.
It's different. It's a different way of watching wrestling than we've all grown up with or come to be used to. I don't know if NXT follows that still. I don't know if the Indies follow that still. And well, some do. I mean, Cody Rhodes is a big proponent of that, and Cody Rhodes very much falls in the middle. He's very much a tweener, and you cheer him, you boo him, however it fits best.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know we got to talk about Raw, but like these are like there's some interesting stuff going on in wrestling right now because Cody tweeted out essentially a union.
I saw that.
So like you mentioned Cody Rhodes. I wasn't going to bring it up, but
but I found it very interesting too.
Is this part of the quote-unquote evolution, not just for women, but wrestling all around? What Cody is talking was because all this stuff about the elite, what's going to go on with the elite, what's happening with the elite. Now Cody comes out and says, these companies don't treat these wrestlers well. Mistakes happen, but companies treat these people not well. So
what he said, his tweet said, wrestlers have never been more talented and responsible. The people in charge of wrestlers have never been more clueless and irresponsible. Need to band together.
Yeah.
He makes a point.
That's a union he's calling for.
I'm shocked. Look, I am shocked. There's not one.
Well, it's a monopoly. That's why there hasn't been one.
Like if there was a union,
will never have a union.
If there was a union, this crown jewel thing wouldn't be an issue.
Exactly.
It would be nipped in the bud right away. And I get it that Vince doesn't care, or that the NWA was like kind of a union and Vince got rid of it. But man. Wrestlers need it more than ever right now.
I agree amongst the ones that are successful, but Ryan, you know this as well as I do. There are plenty of wrestlers who are desperate to have a platform and will absolutely cross the picket line or not join a union and be a scab or whatever and go and wrestle for the WWE while these other wrestlers trying to form a union refuse to participate.
Well, television. Look at television in general.
Yeah.
There are, if you don't work in television,
you don't know.
know.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of shows that are not union.
Yeah, non-union shows.
And those people on those shows are making way less money than the people who are on union shows.
Yeah.
And you can tell when you follow them on Twitter, based on the lifestyle they're living, the people on TV, if they're on a union show or a not union show. Because like the non-union shows, what they're doing is they're taking advantage of people who are desperate for an opportunity in the entertainment industry, and they will work for less so that they can get that opportunity and hopefully launch it into something, that they can be passionate about. So it's a real thing, and so I wish I knew about it. I wish I could have done something about it when I was in that, when I was the one in that world, dealing with that. So yeah, man, like I think a union is very important for wrestlers, and I don't think a lot of the wrestlers who are involved in wrestling understand how important it would really be for them. You know, I mean, the fact that companies making like $1 billion or whatever from Fox. The wrestlers aren't really gaining a ton extra from that. I mean, Greatest Royal Rumble. I heard people made bank, and we talked about Jericho making bank. I mean, Jericho basically said it was money that he would be stupid to have turned down. That he said no, and then they told him how much, and he said, "Oh, okay, yeah, well, that'd be stupid to say no to that." And I've heard some of the numbers; they're stupid numbers.
Stupid rich numbers.
Yeah, it's just weird.
And that's the thing, you gotta. This has been a growing movement or sentiment within wrestling since the '90s. I think this idea of having unions, right? Maybe some of the '80s there were people who were talking. I think Piper might have said a couple things back then around that time, like the way we're treated, the way we have to go in these cars and go to place, but it's way more pampered now. Planes, you have your own personal stuff, the hotels you stay in. As far as WWE stuff, right?
Not
Don't
really.
you think?
Not really. No, dude. Like you hear interviews with them, they're ending, a Raw taping.
Yeah.
Getting in a rental car, driving 10 hours to the next town.
Nuts. I thought they were all being flown.
Hell no. They're getting in a rental still, driving 10 hours to the next town.
They're all going to the same place.
Getting in the hotel at butt crack of whatever time, barely any sleep, getting up, then going to the arena and doing it again. Yeah. No, they're getting a couple days off a week, but no. It is just as bad as it used to be. I mean, there should be help. Like there should be a bus.
Yeah.
Like and I get that they can get there should be better. There should be better accommodations. I mean, wrestling doing that kind of schedule. It leads to accidents.
Oh, of course.
It leads to, bad things happening, and so, I would like to see a union step in and make some changes. That'd be great,
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Cody is the guy who's kind of been winning against the odds since he left the WWE in terms of his character, and then, of course, All In. So is this another arena where he might actually be successful in making this happen? We'll see. It's going to take a lot of people.
If there's anyone who can make it happen, he's one of the people who I think has a chance.
There's going to take a lot of people, though, because The Rock ain't going to push for a union. Cena ain't going to push for a union.
No.
Triple H ain't going to push for a union.
Definitely not.
Stone Cold maybe, but I don't know. And so there's a lot of famous wrestlers who might not push for this union thing. So who knows how it'll go down.
I could see Austin doing it. If anyone, Austin keeps it real. Like I could see Austin pushing for something like that.
Yeah. Well, keeping it real, Dean Ambrose and Ziggler went at it in this WWE World Cup / Only America qualifier. It seems like only American people are going to qualify for this.
The American World Cup.
The American World Cup, basically. Ziggler defeated Ambrose by pinfall to advance to the WWE World Cup, but it wasn't without some help from Rollins, who came in and tried to help at the end there, but then Ambrose, I think he beat him up outside. He beat somebody up outside the ring. I think it was McIntyre, and then he hit Rollins on accident, or supposedly on accident, and then went in there and then lost, and then was mad at the whole situation and pushed through Rollins to go out the back. Started fighting. Reigns comes out to separate them on the ramp. Blah 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 blah. So I don't know. What do you think about all this, man?
I think this is at least a little bit more believable of a way to get to possibly Dean turning at least.
Yeah.
Or, to tease dissension amongst the Shield. So I didn't dislike it.
Yeah.
I just think it's like I'm bored with it. I want them to get there. I'm just ready for them to get there.
That's what it felt like,
Yeah, I'm just ready for them to get there. I'm teasing it only to like keep putting them back together is like there's only so much interest I can find in that. Yeah. So I'm ready for phase 2.
Yeah, fair enough. Finn Balor and Bayley took on Jinder Mahal, Alicia Fox. We had the return of one of the Singh brothers coming back there, but this is boring as hell.
So boring.
Talk about another match, another repeat of these two getting together and having a battle. Whether it's Alicia Fox versus Bayley or Jinder versus and Bayley, and this is WWE Evolution, right? Bayley came out to Balor's music. She didn't have her own separate entrance. There is no effing way Alexa Bliss comes out and doesn't come out to her own music. Like
fair.
It's that kind of thing. It's like if we're gonna do this, then do it all the way.
Well, I think more so, and we're gonna get to that segment in a minute. But like, Evolution is coming up, and Bayley and Sasha, who arguably were a huge part of us getting to that.
Hell yes.
Their matches at TakeOver, multiple ones, turned a whole generation of guys onto women's wrestling.
I agree.
There are a lot of guys who would change channel, go to the bathroom, get up, would leave. Myself included.
Yep.
I think, I was one of the people who wasn't always into the women's match. The women's match never really got that much importance. The women's match was kind of like, like the bathroom break. They really they promoted it that way.
Yeah.
It was like, here's your opportunity. This is not important.
Right.
Nothing that's going to happen here is important. So go to the bathroom. It's cool. Go talk. Go do something else for a few minutes.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. And Sasha versus Bayley was a huge part of that. So it's frustrating when you watch this segment and you go like, what are they doing with Bayley? And I know Bayley has had a terrible run on the main roster.
Has.
But when you're like her and Sasha, and I think the next segment, not next segment, but it's later when we get to Sasha coming back. But like Sasha, Natalya, and Bayley being kind of just like in a random 6-man tag at the pay-per-view, if that's what they're going, is silly to me.
I agree.
Natalya is one of the few women in a long stretch of time that helped keep women's wrestling serious on the main roster.
Yep.
Except for when she was like doing farting, when they had the farting stuff with her and stuff. But she tried. She tried. She was a loyal soldier. She was, and Bayley and Sasha, like I just said, were huge parts of it. And I just feel like it's just such a kind of like it's part of the throwaway nature of the booking of Evolution right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. It feels like a wet fart all over the Speaking of farting, it feels like that.
Yeah, and when you watch this segment, you go, this segment and the next one, we got Leah, and I'll cut you off. We got Bobby Lashley and Tyler Breeze.
Oh,
fun with Leo and Bobby, but it's just like, man, like you gotta do Tyler Breeze like that.
Yeah.
Like
you gotta do him up.
Why you gotta do him like that?
Yeah.
Like I just think that it's like, and I know people have to lose, but like that's what jobbers were for.
Yeah.
To not make your talent become the enhancement talent.
Right, right.
Like Tyler Breeze is an entertaining character that people want to see. Why are you just having him just zero offense, just get destroyed with Bobby Lashley? It's like Bobby Lashley didn't really gain a ton out of that.
No.
And he's entertaining, but he just didn't really gain a lot.
Yeah, and I thought it was I thought it showed you the limits of this gimmick with with Leo being out saying Bobby Lashley. I think I found myself getting irritated by it, and not in a way of like, oh, this fun heel shit. I'm irritated by him being a good heel. It was more like irritated by the gimmick itself.
I do feel like that's being done.
They keep doing.
I do feel like that's being done because people are liking Leo. Excuse me.
They liked him last week.
Leo Rush too much.
Yeah.
And Vince wants them to be heels.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. It was organically entertaining.
Yeah.
Now it's not organically
now it feels
entertaining.
Like, they have to do this. They have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Vince is in his ear screaming at Leo to say Bobby Lashley smells good. You know, like, come on.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bit of a short leash here. All right, moving on to Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. They came out to talk about how they had, what they have done, and then talk about how Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, how they're gonna get, they're gonna get their butts whooped and that kind of stuff. Then Mickie James and Alexa Bliss come out and they say that we've been doing it for a while. You guys have been retired. We're going to whip that ass, blah, blah, blah. I feel like this is like so below Alexa. Like, I just think where Alexa's at, in my opinion, where Alexa is at, I feel like she has to carry the weight of this of all three of them. Because she's the bigger star, arguably the bigger star of all four of them right now.
Wait.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Currently, right now.
Alexa was the bigger star than Lita and Trish Stratus.
Right now, yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah, fine. But right now, I guarantee
they're
you,
Hall of Famers.
If you look at merch,
that's like
she is selling way
well,
more
but
merch.
they don't have merch right now.
That's the fucking point I'm trying to make. Is like she is more popular.
That's like saying. I'm trying to think of a comparison. That's like saying Shinsuke Nakamura is more famous than Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or something like that. Like, come on.
He might be. You know, he's got 2 countries. Ricky's only got 1. I got to me it just.
Damn, you just dissed the dragon like
that.
No,
I
man.
love the dragon. Look,
Damn.
Jessica saying someone is more popular doesn't mean that person is somehow like deficient. I'm just saying, Alexa right now is more in the name of more because a lot of the fans had never seen Lita or Trish wrestle, so they only know them by name. And so they may not be as popular. That's my point. Alexa's more popular right now than Lita and Trish and even Mickie James.
I would like anyone listening or watching, I would like your opinion on this. I would like you to tweet us here, at Ryan Satin, at The Rocha Says. I want to know what you guys think about this statement, because I don't agree with him at all here, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah. But no, because some people will vote against me because they don't like me. So don't do that. Vote your honest truth.
But tell us, I'm truly interested to hear what you guys have to say on the topic. But continue.
If you're older than 21 and you've seen a Lita or Trish match, like, I'll be surprised. I mean, if you're 21 or younger and you've seen a Lita or Trish match, I'll be surprised.
Well, they all saw him in Royal Rumble.
Again, Lita was on a run. I mean, if Lita came out, Trish at her height, right? Okay. Trish arguably is the Alexa Bliss of this time, right? At her time.
Fair.
Would you have said that she's more popular than Moolah? More famous than Moolah?
When Trish Stratus was at her prime, would I have said she was more famous than Moolah?
And Moolah's a Hall of Famer. And Moolah was the pioneer, apparently.
I guess.
That's what I'm getting at. She's just currently more popular because she's on TV every week. People see her and know her. With Trish, you have to go back and do the research and find her matches.
Who's got more followers on Twitter?
Oh, boy.
Let's see. Trish Stratus or Alexa Bliss? Trish
Now, arguably, Trish has been doing it longer than Alexa Bliss.
1.1 million followers.
All right.
Alexa Bliss.
5 million followers.
1 million followers.
Oh!
Damn, that's really close. Wait, what about Lita? Hold on.
Oh, please. If Lita's over 1 million, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, me too.
I love Lita to pieces.
She's not a good Twitter person.
She's a niche.
500,000. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All Mickie James, don't even look up Mickie James.
I remember when I met Lita when Trish Stratus went into the Hall of Fame, but I've always been a huge Lita mark.
Oh, Lita's fantastic.
More so than Trish for me.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, because Lita has the heritage of being a wrestler from the Mexico all the way up.
I also think just personal preference, like she had that cool look.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
You know, like she's more someone I could
she was sexy to you.
Relate to. And not even that, but yes. But not just that.
Not just that.
But she was like, rock and roll.
Yeah,
She's
right.
kind of like a little edgy.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus was like a fitness model.
Right.
Fitness models are amazing. But I as personally, I was like, oh yeah, I'd want to hang with Lita. But I remember I met Lita at the the WWE party, the post WrestleMania after party, the WWE after party after WrestleMania when Trish went in, and that was when she was still dating CM Punk, Lita. And I remember I just took her aside when I met her. Jim Ross's wife introduced us, and I met her, and I just said, like, I just want to say to you, you should have been inducted into the Hall of Fame before Trish Stratus. And she was like, oh, thank you, but I don't want to, like, well. But do you think I was wrong? Do you think Trish deserved getting in there before Lita? I know Lita, wasn't Lita like the next year? I know it was like close.
It's a great question. The thing you have to look at it is, who really carried the standard? Lita did. I mean, Trish did more than Lita.
She was the face
Lita was
more.
the rebel. And
True.
Trish was the face.
It's almost like Charlotte and Sasha Banks.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so you see that, and then that kind of like, that's why Trish got in before Lita.
Yeah,
because
I
Trish
get it.
was always pushed more than Lita. And to be fair, Trish also expanded her brand to other things.
She did.
And left on her own terms.
She did. That is very much,
right?
That is very true. So yeah, it's a very good point.
And there wasn't a lot of drama with Trish.
Lita has a cooler theme song, though.
She does. Lita has a cooler set of moves. Lita's a better wrestler.
She does,
I would
definitely.
argue Lita's a better wrestler than Trish. Yeah. I don't see Trish doing a Hurricane Run that is fantastic the way Lita does.
But I did like this segment. I thought they were making fun of. Was this when they were making fun of Allen Iverson or whatever?
Yeah. Practice. Talk about practice because they're in Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
still fun.
Yeah, of course.
I very much enjoyed the segment. I thought that, God, Lita and Trish just haven't aged.
They look fantastic.
It's crazy. And so you're watching them, and then like they haven't aged. They look like they haven't aged, and they're just sitting there, just like, practice us? What?
Yeah.
Like, so I loved it. I thought it was a fun segment. I liked it a lot.
Tori Wilson posted a video of her on Twitter working out after she's eaten some kind of food, doing push-ups. So like, she looks fantastic.
Oh, they announced her for the Battle Royal.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Oh, most of those girls, it's
Is
crazy.
Keebler coming back? Come on now, Stacey.
They should have her.
Stacey should totally come back.
She won't though.
It's just like
She's too above it now. It feels like
her.
I know.
Don't be ridiculous.
She was dating Clooney for a while.
What
man.
did Clooney do? Clooney traded her in for a lawyer who works for the UN. Let's be serious.
I mean.
here. No offense to Stacey.
I love Stacey Keebler, but I mean, he did glow up. I mean, he did. I mean,
yeah,
he did pick a good one.
She's beautiful and all that, but like, yeah. Anyway, Authors of Pain taking on the Conquistador. This was all set up by Baron Corbin. You knew it was the Conquistador in there. You could tell by the body shape it wasn't Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
I don't know how all these three guys were fooled, but they went through the whole motions. Then Kurt Angle did Did you like his shirt and the hat? Did you like that? He looked ridiculous.
This is ridiculous.
Kurt is so good when he looks ridiculous. And he did the Angle Slam on Corbin, so that's probably the setup.
I just picture like Kurt
Crown Jewel,
Angle's
whatever's
trunk.
gonna happen.
I just picture like Kurt Angle's trunk has a bunch of disguises inside of it.
Yeah.
He's just like the master of disguise. Like she's like, what do I want today?
Yeah.
No, don't need the headgear. Don't need the
like,
cowboy hat. Hawaiian shirt and vacation hat.
Next to his 2 gallon of milk.
Yeah, totally.
He's asks his wife, "What should I wear tonight to bed? What is going to turn you on the most?" All right, Natalia. Are we excited?
I'm assuming Baron Corbin's to answer your question there. I'm assuming Baron Corbin's going to be the final one in the World Cup.
Oh, you think in the World Cup?
And then the final will be Baron Corbin versus Kurt Angle.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah, it sounds about right.
And then Kurt Angle wins.
And becomes GM again.
I don't know, something like that.
That's fair. Natalia, you were mentioning earlier, she came out with Bayley and the returning Sasha Banks, which all over Twitter people have been like, what the hell? What about Sasha? What about Sasha? And they finally, she comes here with Natalia because Ruby Riott brought out the Riott Squad and was going to fight Natalia. Natalia said she'd bring back up, and here comes Bayley, and then here comes Sasha. Man, I can't listen. I want to tell you, Sasha Banks, she does it for me on so many levels. She's a good wrestler. She understands the business. A lot of respect for Eddie. She's fantastic on Twitter and social media, and she's goddamn beautiful. I mean, goddamn beautiful. So for me, all the boxes are checked, and I love it when she comes out to wrestle. I hate how she can't seem to find her way in to consistently be in the main event picture time after time. Charlotte gets that way. Becky has found her way in there. Obviously, Bayley got a bit lost on the way now. But Sasha's done nothing wrong. Not a goddamn thing wrong.
I think she does everything right.
Yeah. She takes the losses. She wears the burden of losing the belt every time in the first defense, every time she wins it. She carries that burden because the company said, you got to lose it tonight. And so, the fans respect her. I don't know why the business doesn't, or the creatives don't respect her enough.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. And if you look, when Sasha came out, she didn't really look very happy to be there.
Nope.
She had this like real somber look on her face.
I gotta do this.
From what I've been told, she's dealing with a back injury.
Okay.
Nothing like major, I don't think, but it's bothering her. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure, just like I was saying a few minutes ago, she has to look at the horizon here and be like, look it. I helped us get here.
Yeah.
I played a huge part in it.
Right.
And what build am I getting to this event? What legend are they putting me against?
Yeah.
What are they doing with me? No offense to the Riott Squad. I love the Riott Squad.
Yeah, sure.
But Sasha is beyond the Riott Squad. Mm-hmm. Sasha should be like in one of the main events of Evolution.
I agree.
I understand that she's doing the back injury, but like, man, I felt bad for her. She walked out just looking unhappy. Normally, she's got that swagger.
Yeah.
She didn't really want to be there.
She didn't wear the jacket.
No, she didn't want to be there. She didn't want to be there. Yep. And that sucks with the Evolution coming up. This should be one of the moments where she should feel like she played a huge part in it. And instead, it's like they brought back the Bella Twins, which I love the Bella Twins, but I can imagine if I were in her shoes, I'd be like, well, great. I did all this stuff, and now a UFC fighter and part-timers are ahead of me. It's no different than when we get to WrestleMania season and you hear about the guys who've been there all year, the workhorses, are bummed when the Goldbergs and the Chris Jerichos and the part-timers, the Rocks, the Undertakers are all brought in. It's like, hey, man, we're here too. Yeah. We can do it. Yeah. Give us the chance. Right. And I think Sasha's got to feel that way. And I feel bad. I would like her to. I'm just like you. I would love for her to be able to push through. There's a handful of people that you just go, why? Yeah. Why? Yeah. And she's one of them. It's like her. It's Kevin Owens. It's Cesaro. It's Asuka. And you're like, why are these not the focal points of the show? Yeah, man. So I can see that being very frustrating. And I hope that at the least it's going to be the 6-man where it'll be Bayley, Natalya, and Sasha versus the Riot Squad. But even that, I feel like is beneath where they should be.
Absolutely.
And I do fear that all 6 are just going to be in the Battle Royal at the end of the day too, and which would be even worse.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to kind of throw them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Apollo Crews was getting a push all of a sudden.
Thrown in there.
Yes. Apollo Crews out of nowhere interrupted Elias. I liked his reasoning. Everyone else does it. I thought it'd be fun to do it. Then he gets in the whole thing with Elias, does his moves. Elias now putting him over to a degree. I don't know where they're going to go with this. I don't know. I like Apollo Crews. I thought he was fantastic in NXT. So I want to see if they're going to give him a real push because that guy deserves it. That guy can wrestle and he's strong as hell. So let's go already.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just fear that. Where are they going to go with this? Yeah. I would be pumped if they put a serious push to Apollo right now.
Yeah.
Dude, honestly, Apollo versus Elias could be pretty good feud.
That's a fantastic one.
Could be fun. Could be entertaining. Apollo is insanely athletic. Yeah. Insanely entertaining to watch in the ring. I think he could mesh well with Elias. Yeah. I also think that with Lashley turning heel, they kind of need another black dude who's a popular face. Right. They need, on Raw. And I think that, Apollo Crews checks all the boxes that you were referring to. Good looking, athletic, great in-ring skill. So I think that it's a no-brainer to put him there. Yeah. I just fear that Vince will get over it really quickly. Yeah. But at the same time, he's really invested in Elias, and Elias needs more people to feud with. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it could be a win for everyone.
I agree. I hope so. I hope they work it out that way. I know people were talking about Apollo Crews' mic skills in the past, but I thought he did a nice job this time around. So hopefully he's been working on it, and they were ready to give him the push.
I agree.
So we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Finally, the Raw ends with the Shield versus Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. I thought this was a good match, back and forth. Once again, the problem isn't that these guys don't have chemistry. They have great chemistry together. The problem is that
lazy storytelling.
Yes. But the Scottish Claymore, he climbed out of this one. McIntyre climbed out of this whole thing doing his Scottish Claymore on a Strowman and walked away. And you could argue that if this was all set up to push McIntyre to the next level, maybe it was worth it. I don't know.
Cannot agree with you more.
Yeah.
If that was the entire purpose of all of this was to get the chosen one to his rightful place in the card, cool. Yeah. Great. Absolutely great. If it was just to get him and Dean there, totally fine with it. Yeah. I think that Drew McIntyre is one of the most money guys in the company right now.
Yeah.
Him and Braun Strowman are two guys that, there's the guys that Vince loves, and there's the guys that wrestling fans all love.
Yep.
Roman is the guy Vince loves. Yeah. The guy that everyone who's wrestling, there's no wrestling fan for the most part who doesn't like Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre,
right.
Or one or the other. Those two guys are money. They're both, they're both the definition of what you think of when you think of a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
They're huge, entertaining, larger than life. Male specimens, and I think that the prospect of those two feuding is money all the way.
Yeah.
But I think now we can unpin what we talked about in the beginning.
There we go.
Where do you think they're going here in terms of face or heel? Or do you think this harkens back to what we were discussing a little bit ago, that there is no face or heel, that they're both going to kind of be gray area, and that they're both kind of, it's cheer who you want to cheer for type stuff?
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me. It doesn't feel Strowman got mad at Ziggler and McIntyre because they lost the match.
Yeah.
That's a heel thing.
Yes.
And he destroyed them. That's a heel thing. But McIntyre got the better of him. So now, is McIntyre a face? Like, I don't know.
Well, and McIntyre saved his boy.
Yeah.
You know, and no one
Ziggler.
booed that he saved his boy. It was like, oh, he was going to beat up his friend. He saved his friend.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
You know, good on McIntyre.
Right.
As someone who has seen face McIntyre outside of WWE and the way he currently has his character, I think there's so much money in Drew McIntyre as a face.
As a face? Interesting.
Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
But at the same time, I'm torn because there's so much potential in Braun as a face.
Yeah.
But I also think that fans get a little annoyed when a lot annoyed when a wrestler turns heel and face back and forth too often. When it's when the Big Show effect, when it's like happening constantly and you don't know which way, and then they just stop cheering for him altogether. You lose the cheers and it just becomes boos.
Yeah.
So I worry about them switching Braun back to being face so soon. So I think that it would almost make sense to kind of keep this momentum going and let Drew McIntyre and Dolph be faces.
Yeah.
You know, I think that people are going to boo who they're going to boo, but at the end of the day, you know, people are going to cheer Drew McIntyre, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see what happens with the Ambrose as well with the Shield, because it looks like that is happening as well. So.
But do you not think the same thing we've been talking about before, that it's like too in your face about it?
Yeah, I agree. It is too in your face, but there could be another where they could still make it work in some way that he goes over. If they don't take Drew and Ziggler into face territory and they leave them heels, Ambrose could join them for a new threesome. That's not the Shield. That's not, Strowman and company. It's their own thing, all three of them, because all three of them are nutty in a different way, right?
True.
Like, one is quiet nutty, that's McIntyre. One is like flashy nutty, and that's Ziggler. And then one is like full on, I don't know what the hell's going to happen, a Brian Pillman-esque type X Factor, and that's Ambrose.
Don't call him crazy or lunatic.
A
Don't call him a lunatic.
Not a lunatic. No,
He's not on lunatic time. It's normal person time.
Lunatic time. I love that.
That segment was silly.
It was.
As much as I liked, I was entertained by all of it.
Yeah.
They made Dean seem like such a nerd.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why would you call me a lunatic? Why would you do that? Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. Maybe it's because you sell T-shirts that say Lunatic Fringe on it, and it's your character that has been making you millions of dollars the whole time we've been friends.
Right.
That's why we say you're on lunatic time.
Exactly.
You crazy person.
You lunatic.
You lunatic. But I like I said a little bit earlier ago, I'm ready for the next chapter.
Yeah.
So we once again seem like we're getting closer to the next chapter.
Yeah.
We finally had some dissension between Braun and Drew.
Mm-hmm.
We finally saw the Shield arguing with each other. So I really am hoping that next week.
Yeah.
We go towards we don't see all these guys going against each other anymore.
Wow. Oh,
we don't see Shield guys versus the tandem of Braun, Dolph, and Drew. I hope that next week we, storytelling wise, start the build to Drew versus Braun seriously.
Yeah.
And start the build towards the Shield breaking up seriously to where those are the people interacting. Yeah. I don't need them all to interact anymore. I just feel like when you have a 3-hour show and you see the same characters for a majority of those 3 hours, it's bad.
Yeah.
That's when people kind of tune out, and it makes it boring. You know, I mean, like, you've got a lot of characters. If there were any TV show like that, any television show that were 3 hours long, that used the same characters for all 3 hours, as much as WWE is relying on the Shield and the team of Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and Dolph Ziggler, there would be complaints from fans.
Agreed.
And so maybe it's, I don't know, that maybe it's just me, but it's really, really making Raw a tough watch.
Yeah. I don't disagree. All right, well, we'll see what happens next week. This has been our Collider Body Slam Raw recap. Let us know in the comments section below what you felt about what we had to say, and also what you think about how they were doing the booking for this particular episode, and also how you think it's going for the Evolution. What should happen for Crown Jewel? All those kinds of things. Let us know in the comments section below. Remember to like and share this video on your social media, and subscribe to Pro Wrestling Sheet, and subscribe to this channel. But I'm sorry, but Ryan, go ahead and tell them.
No, you nailed it all there. Yeah, no, like you said, if you want to subscribe on video, youtube.com/c/wrestling sheet. That's where all the stuff goes that we put on video. If you're watching on video, check out the audio feed, Wrestling Sheet Radio, Podcast One, iTunes, all that good stuff. at Ryan Satin for me. Website, ProWrestlingSheet.com, at Wrestling Sheet on social media.
Yep, and I'm at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. Tune in tomorrow. We'll do another Collider Body Slam Smackdown recap. And
Smackdown 1000
Smackdown
recap.
1000. I should have flown in for that one, maybe. And we'll talk. I love SmackDown. And we'll
Me
talk
too,
about
and it's crazy that it's been 1,000 episodes.
I know.
I
remember watching in college.
So I remember watching episode number 1.
Yes. And I was like, oh, this is great. I love light blue.
I remember thinking to myself, really? They're going to name it after The Rock's catchphrase? That won't last. They can't have a show that long that's named after one of The Rock's catchphrases.
1,000 episodes later. All right, we'll talk to you next time on Collider Body Slam.
ProWrestlingSheet.com